Hello everyone. This week you caught me outside of Yerushalayim. I'm actually in a lot right now. That over there is Mitzrayim, that's Egypt, and over there that's Jordan, and that's the Yam Suf, the Red Sea. Of course, I went scuba diving without all of you. I missed you all. But this week's Parsha is Parshat Vayetze. So instead of jumping into the Parsha immediately, 2 nights ago, I happened to be I believe the 83rd anniversary of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. So in remembrance of Kristallnacht and what happened, I would like to tell a quick story and then a nice thought on the Parsha. So 2 nights ago, I was sitting in the Beit Midrash, and one of the rabbis in the yeshiva, walked in with a big bag. I'm like, okay, it's a little weird. He sits down and everyone crowds around him. So I went, and he pulls out this old, huge Gemara. It was huge. And he explained to us, long story short, that this Gemara belonged to his grandfather in 1938, right before Kristallnacht, and he sold his whole shas, his whole set of these old Gemaras, to this guy. And with the money that he got from selling the Gemaras, he bought his ticket to come to America before the war. And long story short, he made it to America, his family made it to America, obviously without his set of Gemaras. And years later, he found the guy that he sold his Gemaras to, and that guy didn't want to part from it. But when that guy died, his family said, let's give the Gemaras back to the family. So it's very nice, they gave it back to my rabbi's family. And every anniversary of Kristallnacht, he opens up one of the Gemaras from the set, and he learns from it. And this year, I believe it was November 9th, in the background you hear my yeshiva singing Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And it really resonates with me that this could survive through the Shoah, through the Holocaust, and be right in front of the Makom HaMikdash, right in front of the Kotel, right in front of where the Beit HaMikdash will be. And it's truly tremendous. So in light of that, I'd like to share a quick note on the Parsha from the Eish Kodesh, the rabbi of the Warsaw Ghetto. And on this week's Parsha, Parshat Vayetze, he pulls 2 psukim. He compares 2 psukim. The first pasuk is V'hinei Hashem nitzav alav vayomar Ani Hashem Elokei Avraham Avicha V'Elokei Yitzchak Haaretz Ata Shocheh Alea Lecha Enena Uzarecha. So in this pasuk, he's saying, I'm Hashem. I'm going to watch over you. He's speaking to Yaakov. I'm going to watch over you. I'm the God of Abraham and Yitzchak, your forefathers. And the land that you're lying on right now will be given to your children. And then a few psukim later, it says, V'hinei anochi imach ushmarticha b'chol asher telech. So it's saying, I'm Hashem again, and I will guard you in your travels. So the Eish Kodesh says, isn't it saying the same thing? I'm Hashem, I'm going to guard you. So he explains in the first pasuk where he talks about I'm the God of Abraham and Yitzchak, he's really emphasizing to Yaakov that not only will he look over him, but in contrast to all the other nations in the world, he himself will look over Yaakov and the people of Israel. So it's showing that not only is God going to look over the people of Israel, but he's going to be like a father to them, to us as well. And then in between the 2 psukim, this is what I really think is beautiful about this, is in the first pasuk it says Ani Hashem Elokecha, and Ani Hashem Elokei Abraham, and in the second pasuk it says V'hinei Anochi Imach. So what's the difference between Ani and Anochi? The Chaf. So he writes out that there's an acronym for Anochi, and it stands for Ana Nafshia Kitveta Yehaveta. So it's saying, I gave you your nefesh, I gave you your neshama, and I don't only give it to you, I write it. That's the difference of the kaf. Now, why is this so monumental? It's because in the second pasuk, he's saying, not only am I like a father to you, I'm not just going to say it to you, I'm also going to write it down in the Torah. So for me, this was crazy, because it's the night of Kristallnacht, and I see one of the Rebbeim open up this Gemara. So it's exactly what the Eish Kodesh is talking about. Not only is God telling us that he'll be a father, or that he's our father, but he'll write it down. This Gemara is 100 years old. It's unbelievable. And then just with the final message that I really thought was crazy. At the end of the Eish Kodesh's drasha, at the end of his sermon on Parshat Vayetze, he says, through all of the pain and struggles and anguish that we're going through, we know that Hashem, we have etched, he used the word etched, just like writing. He says we have etched in our hearts the attributes of awe of God, love of God, fear of God. And it was just, it's truly amazing. And he says, throughout generations, he says, B'mhera b'Yameinu, unfortunately for them, it took a little bit of time to get, and unfortunately for the Eish Kodesh, he and all of his community perished. But it took a little bit of time, but we still have the kaf, we still have the written words. And as I'm here today, not in halachic Eretz Yisrael, but in Eilat, just to take in all the beauty and then to go back to Yerushalayim and see everything written down is truly unbelievable. Shabbat Shalom.